Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the December 17th Post Falls City Council meeting. Rhiannon, please note the council members are present with the exception of Mr. Malloy, who is excused tonight. And I was talking with Councillor Westland earlier, and Councillor, I appreciate your confirmation of Mr. Davis, or we would not have been able to conduct business tonight. So it's nice to have five so we can almost always be sure we have a quorum. Do have a couple of announcements. The city is conducting a housing survey to better understand the housing needs of our community. You can find the survey link on the city's homepage at postfalls.gov. And the City Hall and city business offices will be closed at noon on Tuesday, December 24th, and remain closed on Wednesday, December 25th in observance of Christmas. Offices will also be closed on Wednesday, January 1st for the New Year's Day. For life-threatening or in-progress emergencies, please call 911. And the police department will remain open for walk-in emergencies, and for water-related emergencies, please call 208-773-3517. Are there any amendments to the agenda tonight?
There are none.
Any declarations of conflict?
No.
Warren, would you please present the consent calendar?
Certainly. Item A is minutes from the November 26, 2024 City Council special meeting. Item B, minutes from the December 3rd, 2024 City Council meeting. Item C, accounts payable and hand check accountability report for November 22nd through December 5th, 2024. Item D, cash and investment reports for October 2024. Item E, Teton Meadows final subdivision plat. Item F, Mongeau Meadows annexation reason decision for file number ANNX 24-3. And item G, fiscal year 2024 annual road report.
Any questions on the consent?
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion second. Further comment? Roll call, please.
Stigleader. Aye. Ziegler.
Aye.
Westland.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Tonight we have no public hearings, and that's followed by unfinished business, returning ordinances, etc. First item up is Quarry Sports Complex lot line adjustment.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Robbie Quinn, Parks Planner, and I'm here seeking council's approval for the mayor to sign a few deeds related to a lot line adjustment at our Quarry Sports Complex site. So it's really just kind of a housekeeping item as we kind of get prepared for or closer to phase one construction. The site is about 26 acres composed of 2 lots, and currently there's one lot that directly splits one of our proposed buildings right here. And so just kind of a summary of what we're doing for phase one. It'll be the 2 soccer fields, parking lot, plaza, the restroom building, our maintenance yard, and then 2 add alternates, one for the playground and one for the sports courts. And as I mentioned, the restroom shelter building is where we currently have a lot. And so on the left here is what the GIS, you can see our 2 different lots. And as I mentioned, this one goes right down this building, which is, we can't build it on 2 separate parcels. And so what we're proposing is to basically move that lot over, and then it won't bisect any other future buildings. And this way we can keep all of phase one under one parcel, and then kind of set us up for the most flexibility in the future. It's kind of a long project. If anything needs to happen, it's easier to keep our 2 lots, and at some point if we needed to come back for a subdivision, this process is a little much simpler. So with that, I haven't stand for any questions.
You answered my question. I was going to say, why not go with just 1 lot, but you answered that for me. So, council comments, questions? Entertain a motion.
I move to approve the Quarry Sports Complex lot line adjustment.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Westland.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Stigleader. Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thanks, Robbie. Next up is well number 4 rehabilitation recommendation of award. I liked your other shirt. Inside joke, what was on the shirt?
Lawnmowers.
Lawnmowers.
It was
I
a
thought it
big
was-
bright
I thought it
green
was
one
classic.
and had some lawnmowers on it.
You decided to change.
Felt summery with all the snow. All right. Oh, that's a nice picture adjustment there. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of council. Jackson Fleshman, Project Manager, City of Post Falls, here to present to you a recommendation of award for our Well 4 Rehabilitation Project. Site location, that red arrow that's pointing to the green dot is Millennium Skate Park, which is co-located with our well number 4. The white building kind of just above that green dot is the USPS right off Celtice that corners Greens Ferry for familiarity. The existing well site, here's a picture of that, so that's how it looks today. You can see the pump track kind of in the background to the left. So as mentioned, co-located with the skate park, constructed in 1974, and there's a whole host of reasons it needs to be replaced, but a couple, there's no on-site backup power, and the existing pumping capacity is below what our design capacity is. Identified in our 2018 Water System Master Plan as a 6 to 20-year project too, I believe, which means we're on track, so going into 25. Some of the specifics, so really it is a full replacement other than the wellhead itself. So it's getting a new well house, new pump, on-site backup power with a new generator. There's some pipeline improvements, so there will be a little bit of work that goes into Greens Ferry, getting away from some AC water main. Excuse me. And then fun part of this project is going to be some on-site coordination with parks and PD, some of which has already happened. So part of this project, the PD is going to get some upgrades to their camera systems out there. And then our parks departments, we're taking up a little more space, but I think it's going to overall make the site look nicer. Getting a little bit of landscaping around the well fencing. And then I think we're getting a location for a portable restroom cover. I think, Robbie, you can speak to that. But yeah, so overall, I think we'll make the park look nicer than when we first disturb it after we're done. For comparison, this is what the well will look like, more or less when we're done. This is well 3 over on Idaho. I think it might be inverted. The generator will be on the other side, but more or less, this is what the building will look like. So November 13th, we had 6 bidders come out, and WM Mulch Corp came in with the low bid at $1.68 million. There were a couple irregularities, which delayed review of the bids. But after review with JEB engineers and our city legal staff, none of them seemed to deem the bids unresponsive. So WM Mulch Corp seems to be the low responsive bid. The actual request tonight is for the 1.68 with a 10% contingency for a total of $1,855,663. And this will be funded through the Well House 4 rehabilitation budget. Next steps after tonight, execute the notice of award with this request. Construction should begin in 2025 and it should end in 2025. 1-year projects, that's our goal. Questions?
Have we dealt with this contractor previously?
We have not, no. Would you like to know anything about them?
Well, I'm sure if legal's looked at it, you've looked at it, you're comfortable with it?
Absolutely, yep, low responsive bid. We've had a conversation with the contractor. I think part of their bid, just as a piece of information, they're located very close to the well site. I think they're like a mile away or something. So I think that might have had something to do with that. But yeah, so
I'm glad they're local.
yeah, yep.
What other questions of Jackson?
Just to be sure, this account that we're funding this through has the appropriate amount of money in it presently to do this?
I'm going to defer to Craig Borenpole potentially on that one. I believe so, yes.
Okay,
Funds there?
yeah, okay, great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty sure, but I didn't want to say.
We're getting a nod of confirmation from Craig. So.
Perfect,
Okay.
yeah.
Any questions?
Not on this, no.
Thanks, Jackson. Entertain the
Awesome.
motion.
Yep.
Move to approve well number 4 rehabilitation recommendation of award.
Second.
Motion seconds. Roll call. Further questions? Discussion. Roll call, please.
Westland,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Stigleader.
Aye.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Motion Motion passes. Thanks, Jason.
Awesome. Happy holidays, guys.
You too.
Thank you as well.
Next item up is new business. Tonight we have none, followed by citizens' issues, and this section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the council regarding city-related issues that are not on the agenda. Anyone wishing to testify, come forward. Seeing none. Administrative staff reports, and we do have one. Tertiary treatment at the water reclamation facility.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Craig Morpole, Utilities Manager for the city. Appreciate the grace and a little extra time to get up here. I did want to confirm that number. So the fiscal year, going back to the last topic of the well 4 well house, the fiscal year 25 budget for that is $2.8 million. So there's adequate funding in that line item. So moving on to my topic, I'm going to be giving a staff update on tertiary treatment, and really the goal of this staff update is to provide some of the background and justification for the need of why we're building new treatment technologies on the tail end of our existing facilities to further treat the water. So to kick that off, I thought I'd start with a bit of a thought experiment, a seasonally related thought experiment. Lots of people are going to be out purchasing their Christmas trees, getting them ready to decorate, and so you buy the decorations, you set the kids off decorating the Christmas tree. We're going to use some tinsel here, individual strands, and leave them unattended and end up with what is, by all accounts, a fully decorated Christmas tree. So it serves its purpose, works out well. January rolls around. There's a press release that the City of Post Falls is going to be doing Christmas tree pickup, and it has some rules. They need to be by curbside by 6 in the morning, cut into 4-foot bundles. And then you read the line that trees must have all decorations removed. Removing all of this tinsel is going to be an effort. But luckily, I mean, you can already see there's some tinsel on the ground around it. Some of it is sloughed off. I bet if you go in there and shake the tree, we're going to get a whole bunch more. That first clump of tinsel is going to come off pretty quickly. But by the time you get to those last little bits, it takes a lot more effort to get the last pieces of tinsel off the tree so it can be, properly disposed of. So you get a majority of it off really quickly, but that last bit is really what takes the time and effort. And treating wastewater isn't too dissimilar. We can get a majority of the pollutants out with time-tested technology that we've been using, but to get to that last little bit, that's where we're going to have to call upon something additional. So with thought experiment on pause for a bit, we're going to talk about removing pollutants in the business I work in, treating wastewater. So going through kind of what our existing facilities have, in the lower right is our headworks, and the goal of that is kind of to remove trash fundamentally. The tanks here, we use flow equalization. These are recently constructed, and an exciting piece of this is by constructing these EQ basins, we were able to save millions on the design and construction of the facilities that we're building now. The goal of these EQ basins is to take the peaks and valleys of wastewater that comes into the facility and flatten it out so everything downstream is seeing a more consistent flow. So where we save the money is instead of having to design to that high peak that comes in, we were able to design closer to that average flow coming in. So these definitely pay for themselves in construction. Our existing process, which we've relied upon for decades, is a secondary treatment process. It's a biological process, and really the goal here is we're trying to create the conditions where microbes can grow, and through their cellular growth, through areas of high oxygen or low oxygen, we get them to respire and get rid of some of the nitrogen, or build cellular growth and get bind phosphorus in their cellular growth. And then we can slough that off and get rid of it through secondary clarifiers. And the goal with these secondary clarifiers is those biological cells, the microbes, they settle out. This is kind of a cross-cut of what a secondary clarifier looks like. So it kind of, the biology settles to the bottom, and we can remove that sludge and either put it back to the head of the process so that we keep the bugs alive, or it gets disposed in what we call our waste solids. And that's where a lot of the pollutants are leaving the system, is in that discharge. Currently, I should maybe say a couple months ago. So also coming off the secondary clarifiers is the clarified water. And historically, what we've done is disinfect that with UV treatment, and that's what goes to the Spokane River. The new facilities that we're building will be on the tail end of this. So all the water will still go through all the existing facilities that we have. We're just adding additional treatment to the tail end of it. So this basic process has treated us really well throughout the years. Right now, coming into the facility, we see about 190 pounds per day of total phosphorus. That's the constituent, the contaminant, the pollutant synonyms of what we're going to be talking about. So coming into the plant, we see about 190 pounds per day on average. And through that secondary process, we're removing 96% of that total phosphorus and currently discharging about 7 pounds per day out of the facility. The permit number, which we knew in 2013 and we've been given time to plan, design, and construct facilities to meet, is 3.19 pounds per day. So as good as we're doing, that 96% removal through time-tested processes, still isn't enough to get us down to that 3.19 pounds per day. We need to remove additional phosphorus, and to do so, we need additional treatment technology. So we were granted time, like I said, in our 2014 permit to do that. One item that we did is a pilot study utilizing the secondary water that we have been making to test different technologies as well as different manufacturers of those technologies. What I'm trying to highlight here are some of the different membrane pressure vessels. We can compare those against each other and run different scenarios to make sure we're going to meet that limit. A lot of effort went into this process. We wanted to make sure we'd be able to get it right, so on day one, we'd be able to meet the limit now and into the future. So we did a pilot study, and it showed I think as it shows here. So the pilot study informed our strategy of using tertiary clarification and then membrane filtration to be able to meet that 3.19 pounds into the planning, into the future. So we'll go through each of those processes a little bit, give you an idea of what they do and why we need them. The first is tertiary clarifiers, and where the secondary treatment process is more biologically driven. We're trying to grow the bugs and let them settle out. This is a much more chemically driven process where we're relying on adding chemicals to that treated effluent. And what happens is the phosphorus binds and settles out, and we'll be able to pull that off the bottom, and the clarified effluent is going to come out of the top. These are an inclined plate clarifier is what it's called. And when we have everybody out for a tour, what you'll see is the clarified water coming off the top and exiting out that center channel there. All the solids that we're trying to remove are going out the bottom. So they're settling out to the bottom and removed, and they go out with the other waste solids. So beyond that, we have tertiary filtration, which some of that tertiary clarified effluent will go through the tertiary filtration. Oh, I have to apologize. This is an older picture. These are our membrane racks, and this was before we had the membranes in them. They have been populated with our membranes. So progress has taken place, and we are to the point where we're in startup of these new facilities and getting, making sure that they're operating as designed before they're fully handed over to the city to operate. So I have a new picture. We have membranes in the membrane rack. An additional chemical addition step will take place before it goes to these membranes. And really what's going on here, if we looked at the end of one of those membranes, inside there is, sorry, I'm trying to count, 1,242 of these, joking, hundreds and hundreds of these fibers that run the length of that membrane. And think of these as a straw, and they go the length of that package, and we're forcing the water through, but it's not going just through this straw. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. So the pore size that I say here is 0.03 microns, or 1/1,000,000th of a meter. And that's not the size of the hole that you can see on the end here. That's holes down the length of that straw. So the untreated water, so to speak, is going to go down the length of the straw and get forced through these tiny pores on the side. So only the water that we want coming through is going to go through the pores down the length of the straw and all of those waste solids will be sent back out into the waste stream here. So as I say, for comparison, human hair is between 17 and 180 microns. So we're talking, the pore size here is 1/500th, approximately, the finest human hair. So these are very, very, very tiny pores. So you can see, to push water through this, it takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort. When we're really going after those last pieces of tinsel, we're really upping the demand to do that, the effort to do that. This is kind of a profile of what might be going on with those pores. Really, the permeate, think of permeate as that fully treated water coming out the other side of the membrane filter, and the waste solids moving through and going out with the other solids from the other processes. So going back to our thought experiment, you can see how the goal of this tertiary treatment is to make clumps of our pollutants. It makes it easier to remove. So if we think of our Christmas tree, that's kind of like putting that tinsel on a garland. At the end of the season, you can just pull that one strand off, and it's much easier to do. So anything we can do to clump those pollutants together is going to make it easier to get at that last little bit. We're not fully done treating. Water coming from our tertiary system will be going through ultraviolet light for disinfection prior to the Spokane River. And the new treatment technologies will also allow land application to our recycled water sites, which we have talked about, and I'm sure we will talk about into the future as well. Where do we go from here? So the facilities that we are in startup of right now will allow for treatment of 5.2 million gallons per day. We're currently seeing at the facility about 3.1 million gallons. And we have based on anticipated growth, a time plan for when we will need to bring on additional secondary treatment units and tertiary treatment units. But philosophically, the treatment strategy is going to stay the same. What we're doing as part of startup right now is figuring out, we call it optimization of the amount of chemical to put in, how much water needs to go through tertiary clarification or membrane filtration after tertiary clarification. So we make sure it's an efficient system that we're doing, so we can meet that final effluent limit, but we're not overdoing it, so to speak.
A couple comments and a question.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to date myself. I remember putting those individual strands of tinsel on the tree. They weren't combined into the garland. They were individual, and they were a mess. Second, I'll never be able to look at a Christmas tree again without thinking of wastewater. But my question is, if and when the city goes to land application, do you have to hit those same levels of clarity on the discharge?
They are different permit requirements.
Yeah.
It's a totally different permit through the same agency. It's still through Department of Environmental Quality. But oddly enough, the constituents that we're most concerned about change a little bit. With river discharge, total phosphorus is the dominating constituent that we really are focusing on. Land application, it's much more nitrogen-based. They want to make sure nitrogen isn't going into the groundwater.
Okay. Interesting. I'm just curious if land application may prolong the life or the use of the technology that you're installing now, if you're not going into the river as much.
It would not prolong it.
Okay.
No.
Comments?
Thank you for the explanation. Thank you.
Yeah. That was, have you patented that yet? Or copyrighted it, or whatever the term is?
I did a similar report for staff members around Halloween, and I used candy corn getting into your bag of candy as trying to get rid of that.
Pleasant
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
That's a classic.
So have me anytime. I'll come up with a seasonal example for you guys.
Good
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Craig, appreciate it. Mayor and council comments. Excuse me, couple just updates. As you know, when we appointed Mr. Davis, I felt there was a need because losing 2 councilmen, I felt we need to have a minimum of 5 so we could conduct business. We have one more council person to appoint. I've narrowed it down. We've had, I think it was 22 applications. And I've probably narrowed it down to, I was just talking with Nathan about it, probably 8 or 10. And visit with Joe. We'll probably try to reduce that a little bit more. Then my plan is to sit down one-on-one with maybe 6, maybe 7 of the applicants. Out of that, bring forth 3 names for interviews. So the intent, obviously, didn't happen tonight. I know we're heading to Christmas season. I'm going to impose on Rhiannon once we get this and names and see if she can set up meetings. And hopefully it will be the first meeting in January, because the second meeting in January has been canceled because that's when several staff members will be down at Association of Idaho Cities annual meetings, et cetera. So that is the goal, just to provide you all an update of where we are in the process. No decision's been made, but we're starting to winnow it down to a manageable number. So, and we'll keep you posted. I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy and blessed New Year. Please be safe if you're traveling. Hopefully you have safe travels. If you've got relatives, kids, grandkids coming here, I hope they arrive safe. You enjoy the heck out of them, and you can send them home safely. So, you know, we need this time of year, I think, to enjoy what we have, celebrate what we have. And also, I say this in my State of the City, but I'll also say it now, is we can use this time of year to help those who aren't as fortunate as us. You oftentimes hear, I know there's many, many charities that do good things to raise money, and all I would say is please keep your hearts open and realize that there are those in need that could benefit from the generosity of those of us who I think have been blessed with what we have been able to accomplish. So it's always heartwarming when your kids call us, which we had last night, and say, we've adopted a family, do you want to donate? And my daughter did, and so I got home, my wife says, Venmo Holly X number of dollars, and then all the siblings did the same thing. So hopefully we can all be that way and reach out to those and help provide a happier holiday for those who are in need. So long-winded story, long-winded explanation or way of saying we hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Council comments?
I meant to email, and I'm sorry, but I just wanted to say thank you to whoever in the city does the Jacqueline Arts building. That's ours, correct? I got to go to a recital there just recently this week, and it is beautifully maintained.
Oh, Jacqueline Art Centers?
Yeah.
No, are we maintaining that now? No,
No.
that came to the city years ago.
Okay.
And a study was done, and it just did not show it was viable. I know Susan Jacqueline took it back over. Is she still running it?
Well, thank you to whoever in the
They do a wonderful
community
job. It's a
manages it.
beautiful,
It's beautiful.
building.
Yeah,
It
it's
really
lovely.
is. It's a great spot.
Yeah,
So,
that's all. Sorry.
no worries.
That's
Thank
all.
you very much for recognizing them, because they do a nice job. We do not need an executive session. So with that, the next motion is,
Adjourn.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.